Hey, what's up, family? Welcome to Speaking Life with the Browns. Your brother Kevin Brown here, and I am here to help you break through what's been holding you back. And today we say no more. Hey, family, check this out. Have you ever had somebody tell you something that made you question what God has already spoken? Maybe they meant well, or maybe they were just, they just generally cared about you. Or how about this? Maybe they were just simply protecting their own fears onto your future. And family, I'm telling you, I experienced that. Today, I just want to ask you one simple question. Who told you to be afraid? Who told you that? Because what I discovered, even in my own life, in my own situations, I'm going to get into that. Sometimes the biggest thing keeping us stuck isn't our own fears. It really isn't. It's someone else's. Let's just go back a little bit. Let's go back to Genesis, back in Genesis 3. And this is the part where God had questioned them. And Adam and Eve, we know the story. Adam and Eve, they ate the fruit or what have you, and then they were naked and stuff like that. So they hid themselves, right? So God comes down looking for them, yeah? And he's like, hey, where you guys at? Adam, Eve, yo, where you at? He didn't say that, but your brother's saying that. But he did say, he came down looking for him. And they was like, where y'all at? And they like, well, we over here. And he's like, well, it's like, well, why y'all over there? Why they over there? And they said, we hid ourselves because we were naked. And God said, who told you you were naked? The thing about that, God didn't even ask them why they were hiding. You already know he knew already. He didn't even ask them why they hiding. He just asked them, who told you that? Who told you were naked? That's all he asked them. And the funny thing about that, it really isn't funny. The sad thing, I should say, everything changed because Adam agreed with another voice. The first battle, family, was not about the behavior. It was about an agreement. It's agreeing opposite of what God said. It's agreeing with another voice. When God did not say that, God never told them they were naked. He never came down in the cool of the day, chilling out with them all the time, telling them that they were naked. Let me sew you guys some leaves and help y'all to put some clothes on because y'all naked. He never said that to them. It was another voice. It was another voice that did that. I just want to give y'all a real quick story. I want to run this down with you. As you recall, Davina and I told our story on how we got married and things like that. I just want to tell you, I proposed to Davina twice. Okay, I did. I proposed twice, and the first time she wasn't ready. She told me no, and that type of thing, man. What most guys would probably be like, well, then I done did all this. I done flew over 4,000 miles for you. I done this. I done took you out. I done spent money. I got a ring prepared for you and all this other stuff. I put all this stuff together. I put all this stuff together so that I can propose to her. And some of the other guys probably like, man, I did all this, man. Forget you, man. Forget you. You know what I mean? Probably so, maybe not, but that didn't stop me. So the second time I proposed to her, we was in Jamaica, and she said yes. So we all engaged. We engaged, and so I'm excited. I'm happy, and things like that. I can go back into the story and talk about how all this other stuff because another time for that. But so we now get married. We got all the plans. We know we started planning the wedding and stuff like that, which was awesome, by the way. Yeah, it was awesome, by the way. So I get a phone call after I told the information, and I was excited, and I was very excited. It was only a few people that I told or what have you, and so I get a call, and the call was like, "So you're getting married?" I said, "Yeah, I'm getting married." So, what are you doing? Here's the other voice. Here's the other voice. You are not getting married. Cancel the wedding. No, you are not getting married. You should not do this. Do not do this. And I'm like, excuse me? The whole conversation was just all out of proportion, and I couldn't believe it. And it was like someone else's fear, I would say, of losing somebody or losing something was projected on me. And I'm gonna tell y'all, family, I took it. Because I was so off guard. I was so out there. I didn't know how to even I didn't even know how to even react to that. I didn't even know how I would say respond to that. So I end up messaging Davina, and we end up talking on the phone. I told her, I think we should cancel the wedding and stuff like that. I think we should wait to get married. I never said I didn't want to be with her no more and anything like that. I was just saying I think we should cancel the wedding and stuff like that. And I was hurt, and I know that really hurt Davina, because we've been hearing God. He's been directing us. He's been telling us steps to do. We included him in everything. Holy Spirit been directing us. He been giving me stuff to do and telling Davina stuff to do. And we've been doing those things. And here comes the other voice, that voice of fear. That voice was saying, this is not the right thing. You should not do this. I don't think you should do this. What you gonna do? You don't know anything about where you're going. You have no clue this person. You don't know. So you shouldn't do it. Don't do this. And that type of fear will cause you to start believing it. Start believing the lie. Start believing another voice other than what God said, because that's exactly what the enemy did. He did that to Eve. He said, did God really say? And that's like turning the whole thing around. But that call to me was straight. It was something else, family. It was something else, and I end up telling Davina that. But after a while, we started talking again, and Davina said, I can't talk right now. I'll call you the next day, and so we end up talking again, and we end up praying. She got a word, and I said, all right, I got a word. So for us to get some more witnesses on what we heard and what we believe the Holy Spirit been leading us into doing what we were doing as far as getting married. And that whole thing, family, was that time in our lives and what we're building was challenged. It was challenged. If I was to look back over what was said to me, I would say that I realized that those words didn't really create fear. It actually invited fear in. I was invited to fear. I was invited into that whole moment of fear. That was that invitation to bite that fruit and believe the lie. But I still had to decide if I was going to agree with that fear. I still had to decide whether I was going to stay in agreement. And when Davina and I talked, we decided we're not going to stay in that. We're not going to believe that. We're going to go to God again on this and make sure that we're doing this, because I tell you, family, that was a point of time in my life where I did not know how that can happen. I've never ever felt anything like that before in my life. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Nobody's ever talked to me like that before in my life. As a matter of fact, I never heard those type of words before. I really haven't. That was something else. And I just feel like, sometimes people project their fears on your calling. And some people speak from, what they've experienced. Maybe they lost somebody and they don't want to lose a good thing too. They probably lost that good thing and they don't want the thing to go. That's probably something that was, some people be fearing. That's that projection that's on, they projecting it on us, on you, to where they like, oh, I'm gonna lose this person. I don't want to lose another person. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing, to try to keep somebody. But if you think about it, when people do that, they basically pushing you away from them. To me, it's not like drawing them to you. It's basically drawing them away from you. When you project your fear on somebody, that's like drawing them away. To me, that was because I felt drawn away. It didn't draw me closer to the person. It kind of drew me away from the person, because now I'm at the state like, well, what's happening? And I believe that's really happening to a lot of us, that we taking on what other people are fearing. Just think about what we hear on TV, especially my sisters, that you're too old, you're getting up there in the age, your biological clock is ticking, and it's just too late for you. Forget about the husband, forget about the kids, forget about the marriage, forget about starting a business, forget about going back to school, forget about this, forget about that, because you're too old, it's too late, you're done, you're watchful. Tell that stuff to hush. Tell it to hush. Think about this. In Acts 21, when Agabus, right, he prophesied over Paul. He was telling Paul about being bound, that he was going to be bound, right? And everybody else is like, no, don't go, Paul. You're going to be bound. You're going to be bound, Paul. Don't do it. Don't do it. Paul's like, I still need to go to Jerusalem. I still need to go. Regardless, I still need to go. And I feel like that's what we did. I feel like that's what we did. Even though that voice came, we was like, Davina and I was like, no, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna believe. We're gonna listen. We're gonna go back to the Lord and say, hey, Lord, was this your voice? Was it a voice of another? And we concluded it's a voice of another, that it had nothing to do with what we were doing. It was the opposite voice. It was the opposite voice. And that thing can turn a whole lot of stuff around. You're going to miss what God is trying to do in your life when we agree with another voice outside of what God has said. It will really hurt us in the long run. And if y'all remember, I always say this: God leads us with peace, not from pressure. It's always going to be peace when he leads us, because fear pushes us. And like I said, it pushes away from people and from things. Fear rushed you to do stuff, because the voice came to me. It was like, turn it off now. Stop it now. Stop it. You cut the marriage off now. You're not getting married. Stop it. That was fear rushed me to call and cancel it. It created pressure for me to hurry up and do it. That whole thing, not only did it hurt me, it hurt Davina at the same time, because we both were in that situation where we were both hurting. But God, he don't never rush. He's not pushy. He gives clarity. He gives peace. That's what peace does. It gives clarity. Hey, family, instead of immediately following advice, ask yourself these 3 questions. Does this agree with what God has already been speaking to me? Ask yourself that. So when you hear something outside of what God has already said, ask yourself, like, really, really dig into this thing. Say, does this really agree with what God has already been speaking to me? Then here's another one. Is this producing peace, or is it producing panic? Because if it, ask yourself that. Is this really producing peace, or is it producing panic? Am I panicking, or am I at peace with this thing? And the third one, how about this? Is this wisdom, or someone else's fear? Because remember, fear pushes. Fear gets you agitated. Fear makes you rush to make decisions. It just has you going in a whirlwind. Just ask yourself these 3 questions. Does this agree with what God has already been speaking? Is this producing peace or panic? Is this wisdom, or someone else's fear? I try not to, but I often think about that phone call. Not because, I'm angry about it or I have anything against anybody. I'm not holding anything. God has already delivered me from holding grudges a long time ago. That was one of the things I got delivered from quickly. It taught me something. One of the greatest lessons of my life, people can actually genuinely love you so much and still speak from fear. They really can. The question really isn't who has an opinion. The question is, whose voice are you agreeing with? That's the question. Whose voice are we agreeing with? And not to say, family, that we all got it together and everything's all hunky-dory and stuff like that. No, that don't mean that. It just means we really have to question where that voice coming from and what is it saying to us, especially in the seasons in our lives where we really been talking to God about specific things. Because those things really, really matter. That voice really matters. And also what matters, what comes out of our mouths. So if today's conversation really resonated with you, I want to invite you to our free Stuck to Spirit-led training. One of the biggest reasons that people stay stuck isn't because God isn't speaking. It's because fear, disappointment, and other voices have become louder than His. This free training will help you recognize those hidden beliefs, realign your thinking with God's truth, and move forward with greater clarity, confidence, and peace. The link is in the description below. We would love for you to join us. Thank you so much, family, for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one. God bless you.